That thing looks sweet right there. Hey guys, Lucky Jack Racing, and we built a 750 horsepower capable fuel system this week for my 1991 Camaro Z28 drag car, now nicknamed the Daily Driver Race Car, because quite frankly, that's what it is. It's a race car that I can drive to school and drive around town and then go race on the weekends and make almost 10-second passes. So I'm pretty excited about it. But we did all sorts of custom fabrication work that you can get ready to see starting now. Dad looks scared whenever I turn on the camera. Making Dad work out here in the cold. You can see the snow on the ground. But he's changing fuel pumps for me so we can get ready to get this chassis ready for motor swapping.
Motor swapping.
Motor swapping.
You know motor's electric, right?
Yeah, I know. It's engine swapping. Just making jokes. He's got his brass hammer and brass punch. Why do you have a brass hammer and brass punch?
Because they are non-sparking.
So no...
When you're playing with fuel, sparks are not your friend.
No sparky spark.
Ah. So Jack decided he wanted to do an Air Motive Stealth in-tank pump. So this is a 340 liter per hour drop-in replacement for, this one's actually for the 4th gen Camaro. The tank in this car is out of, I think it was a 2000 or 2001 Camaro, so it's the poly tank. I don't remember why we had to change it, but we changed it for some reason. I think it was the fuel pump output on the 4th gen pump, which now isn't gonna support the power levels in the car. So we're gonna do this cool Air Motive drop-in. It's got the foam around it, so it kind of ends up acting like a sump. There's a rubber cup here too, just to keep fuel around that pump pickup. There's an opening right here. That's actually to mount the factory fuel sender. So you'll have your little swivel arm hanging off of this side. And I can already tell based on the size of this compared to the size of the hole in the tank, this is gonna be a fun project. I also know that the whole attaching the factory sending unit to the bottom of this upper plate is gonna be interesting as well. We might have to find a friend with tiny hands, but we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna get this unboxed and see if I can get the factory sender apart and start to put it together.
Cool. I'm no longer allowed to mess with gas tanks, according to Dad and Mom. I recently, probably about 2 months ago in December, I'm currently covered, but I have 2nd degree chemical burn scarring on my arm from where I was soaked in 4-year-old gasoline trying to restore a Mercedes. And it ended up sitting on my arm, ate through my arm, and I ended up with 2nd degree burns. And now I have very little pigment to my skin in that area. But that's the reason I'm not allowed to do gas tanks anymore. So Dad over here is going to take care of it for me.
I'm apparently the gas man.
He is the gas man in multiple ways. We have Dad finishing up the fuel system right now. He had installed the pump a few days ago, but now he's getting it all wired up. Look at that. Getting all pretty with it. Do you feel proud of yourself?
Oh yeah, gotta make it look pretty.
Mm-hmm. Zip ties for everything. We could have just, lowered the vehicle.
Yeah, but then we'd have to raise it back up.
That's true. Work harder, not smarter, guys. Here it is. We have a return line ran and made. Dad worked on half of it, then I finished it off back here. Got it basically going in line with the brake line right here, and then it cuts up there. It'll end, and that's how we're going to connect it to the tank. Tank is out of it right now. It's on the floor. But I think that this is pretty good. I bent it up, and you know what? I think that I'm going to bend the primary, inlet line today, and we should have both lines on there pretty soon.
I'll take this guy, and right here,
Like that.
like that, to where let's look at this and see if this is going to land real on it.
Okay.
I don't know. I wish I had a little scrap piece of that 3/8.
what we do is make a mark at 0, and then do a couple of bends.
And we can see where it ended up.
And see where it ended up in comparison to our reference marks. Then we would know, okay, if we want the bend here, we need to measure back X amount from it.
Yeah.
I am thinking though, about like that. And that should be, that's ready, yeah, that should be fine.
Right there.
Yeah, hit it. Cool. And now we will give her a little test fit. See how we're looking. Come on now. Maybe I ought to do a vertical like center line on it too. I don't know. Okay, I'll start that at 0.
Okay.
We'll see how that works. About like, hang on just a second. Pick her up. Yeah, I should start putting a vertical center line in there, so I can tell kind of where the. Okay. No, well, we screwed up.
Past 45.
I'd go to like maybe the tick just
That
there.
right there?
Yep, right there. Yeah, that should do it. Ooh, give her a little more turn than I thought, but I don't think it'll matter. Am I the only one that has this much trouble with like 3D spatial reasoning? What the world's going on here?
Back it up.
There. Alright, so now, where's that? Center line of the bend here-ish. Okay. You run a little, you want to look at the degrees?
I'm gonna go to like that tick mark.
Yeah,
right
that'll
there,
work.
you think? Way easier to bend the brake line.
It's way easier to give it a little bend and have to give it more bend than to do the other way.
Bend and unbend. Put it back in the straightener.
Unbend and rebend.
I don't think that straightening it's gonna fix it.
Straightener does pretty good coming off a coil, but like if it's a bend that you screwed up, it has a little bit of a time with it.
Okay, that's not terrible. Just looking at, oh, good gosh.
What?
That still did not end up right.
No, actually it ended up where I wanted it.
Oh.
We just didn't go far enough with it.
Oh yeah.
That's fine. I'll hold this stationary. And make sure, wait, make sure that.
Okay, well, I can't really see.
Okay.
A little bit more.
Where I can't see it, so
That's 45.
okay, go 45. I think
That
that's
is,
good.
that is
Yeah,
45.
I think it's good then. So retweak the line back there, but I do think overall it's not horrible. Are there people out there that could do better than us?
Yes.
100%.
Name's Chip Foose.
Are there people out there that would screw it up worse than we did? Also, yes.
Oh, there it goes.
Bingo! Bingo, bango!
I was waiting on that.
What, bingo, bango?
Bingo, bango. We got ourselves a field line.
Word.
Bestow your dad knowledge upon the internet.
Well, internet, we are adding some compression style AN fittings here to this hardline. The compression style AN fitting has the AN end. These are AN 6s. And it's probably hard to see because I got both hands around it, but it comes off into 3 parts. You got the end that your hose will go into. You got the end that's gonna sit here. And then you have this little compression fitting. A lot of people call an olive. So you put the bottom part on, you put the olive on, and then you take the top part and slide it. Now you wanna make, there's a little lip inside. You wanna make sure that it's seated completely. And then you just kind of screw the whole deal together. And once you get done, as long as it's seated properly, you'll have a good AN fitting connection that won't leak.
Look at him explaining all this stuff.
So I'm just going to use an AN adjustable wrench here.
You don't need the other one out of your pocket.
I got it.
Okay, you got it.
If you will hold that,
I'll hold it.
I am using my finger to keep pressure on it to make sure it's seated. And then I'm going to use a second AN wrench to tighten this fitting down to compress that olive into the side of the pipe and kind of crush it so this fitting won't come off at all.
Nice.
Maybe. If we're having a good day.
I think that's how it went. There we go. Goes still tight, right?
Yeah. And now, we did everything right. She tight.
Bingo, bango.
Rock and roll. You know what we could do is take one of these little flexi cushion clamp deals, and we could put a couple cushion clamps on it to hold it in place.
We could. Or we could just zip tie it.
We're not zip tying that. We're gonna put it in place nice. People can see it. You don't zip tie where people can see.
I'm convinced this here may be the worst piece that you can put on your third-gen Camaro after you do the fuel system. This here is heat shielding. Mine's all crappy and rusty because, you know, my car's old, but it's fine. So basically that's just going to sit up in there. And it just kind of protects your fuel tank from getting too hot or getting gouged out because, you know, it's a plastic tank. But basically, in the end, I just think that it's cosmetically unappealing, but it's okay because no one's really going to be able to see up under this car. Man, this system is trick. Got a return line up here with our pressure regulator. Got our inlet back there. It's got dual ends on it so one can go into each fuel rail. That thing looks sweet right there. This is the end of the fuel system on the 91 Z28 Daily Driver race car. This thing is supposed to hold up to 750 horsepower, and I think that it's going to do a great job of it. This was our first time bending metal lines. These were aluminum fuel lines from Evil Energy, I believe. And it worked great. I mean, they can basically be bent by hand, but thankfully we did have a bender tool to make those nice curves right there. Overall, I think it's an amazing looking system. It's going to work great. And it was a great time to get to hang out with my dad and build this car. So, if you liked what you saw, please hit that subscribe button. Follow Lucky Jack Racing on Instagram and here on YouTube. And just support the coolest 17-year-old hot rodder and drag racer on YouTube. So, I hope that you have a great day. And thanks for watching.